Hi there. Welcome to Bourbon Turntable. This is the show that blends the love of music with the love of whiskey. Tonight, we've got Mojo Thunder Part 2. More Thunder, I don't know, more Mojo, whatever it is. It's more Mojo Thunder, the sequel. We have Sean Sullivan and Bryson Willoughby. Really excited to get to talk with them in a few minutes. But before we dive into that, because we got some great stuff to talk about, this album is fantastic, and I hope you've had a chance to listen to it. If you haven't, what have you been doing with your life? But before we talk with them, I want to tell you about Bar Cart Co-op. Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends who produce content for the whiskey enthusiasts. We have shows like Distillers Talk. Distillers Talk is hosted by Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson. They talk about anything and everything in terms of distillation with distillers from across the country and around the world. Alan also has a show called One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. Are you a distiller? Do you ever have a question about what you're doing? Send a message to Alan. He'll post a video response with a great answer. And Alan also has a show called If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. This isn't really about whiskey at all. It's more about the paranormal, the supernatural, the spiritual, you name it. He covers it on that show with a wide variety of guests. My Whiskey Den with Pat and Mike and Mitch every Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. They have great guests. They do wonderful tastings. And My Whiskey Den is where craft whiskey is king. Last but certainly not least is Whiskey in My Wedding Ring with David Levine. David is an excellent writer, so be sure to check out his blog. And he has a podcast where he will also interview distillers. As for our show, if you're watching us right now on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. We would love for you to join us on a regular basis. Or you can also listen to us on your favorite podcast platform, as long as it's Apple, Spotify, or Google. All right, enough of that. Let's get to it. All right. So, guys, it's a very special day today. And not just that you're here on the show with me, but I want us to go ahead and pour a bit of this. I've sent these guys a couple of samples, and I've tried to create a theme again this week, like I did with Andrew and Zach last week. And this is Cuervito Vivo from our friends at Glenns Creek Distilling in Frankfort, Kentucky. Cuervito Vivo means large black bird, or Blackbird, which is nice. The name of a song off of hymns. So let's raise a glass to a great show. And I also want to say happy birthday, Mr. Robert Plant.
Oh, happy birthday, Rob.
Cheers. Yeah. I'm sure he's watching, so.
Yeah, of course.
So Glenns Creek Distillery is on the site of the old Jim Crow distillery. And everything they do is a single barrel. And this is basically them trying to reproduce Old Crow, which was a grand whiskey back in the day. This thing weighs in at 105 proof. So what do you think, guys?
I mean, you're talking to a big tequila guy here, so it's a change of pace.
Yeah,
but it's definitely smooth going down. Like it has a nice aftertaste, and I can't taste any notes or anything.
That's all right. as long as you enjoy it.
Oh yeah,
that's good. And if you're I can hook you with some good tequila too, so we can work on that. Bryson, any thoughts on the whiskey?
It was good. I'm not a tequila guy like Sean is, but I would definitely like the words to describe how this tastes, or maybe all the official lingo definitely escaped me. But it's good.
Yeah, it is a good one. Lots of good vanilla notes in it, a little bit of smoke on it, and yeah, of course. I was reading your mind. All right. So we've got something to sip on for a little bit while we talk. Now, in terms of band history, Bryson, the band started with what lineup?
It was me and Zach initially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just us, and then shortly after we met Andrew through a mutual friend. And then we went through, I don't know, various members like here and there until we found Sean. And so our official history kicks off in 2018.
Yeah. So Sean is forever the new guy. like Neil Peart was forever the new guy in Rush. Sean is forever the new guy in Mojo Thunder.
So,
yeah. So Sean, it's your first time on, and I really appreciate you being in with us. And I got to hear you a little bit singing solo acoustic the other night over at Gerstl's, and man, the voice just holds up in whatever the setting.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
When did you start singing? I mean, it was back in grade school, church choir.
Yeah, I started taking vocal lessons probably around age 12.
Yeah.
Right before it was probably a great time because it was like right before puberty started to hit. So like right before my voice started to drop,
Yeah.
And I was thankful to have somebody guide me through that. But yeah, I've been singing since probably around 12 years old.
Yeah.
So pretty classically trained. No, I wouldn't say classically trained. I was trained like in musical theater type.
Oh, okay.
Like voice. Okay. So
I was going to guess Marvin Gaye. But, seriously, when I hear your voice, it's incredibly soulful. And I get kind of Joe Cocker vibes, Chris Robinson, Paul Rogers, Robert Palmer, Steve Winwood. That's the kind of the feel of it. It's not kind of your standard rock and roll voice necessarily, although it clearly works with that. But a lot of soul in that voice. How have you developed that style over the years?
Well, I think for me, like I said, sorry, my dog is going crazy right now.
It's not the first dog that's ever barked on the
show, but I started in musical theater. Oh my gosh, 1 second. I'm so sorry.
We'll talk with Bryson. So Bryson, what do you think of Sean's voice?
I wanted to make a joke, but I will be sincere for a moment. Sean, when we wanted a person who could do everything as far as versatility went, when we were looking for a vocalist, and we were very, very picky about who we were going to bring into the fold, and Sean definitely checked all those boxes. That was, the other really, really cool thing about when we first got together with Sean was a lot of that theater background. Because I felt like he was able to tap into emotions, and sort of like play the part in a really, really sincere way. Like I know, like obviously he could explain it much, much better than I could, but I'm not familiar with that world at all. So we would sort of like talk about like roles he had played and like kind of like what he would bring like individually to that role, while also like sort of like fulfilling like what the character was supposed to do or whatever. So that was a really, really enticing thing, like with writing songs and everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh, like here's a person who can absolutely deliver the message. He can do it in like a really like sincere way.
Yeah. Yeah. So Sean, when you're singing a song, do you try to drop yourself into the persona of that character while you're delivering it? Is that something that you go through, or?
Not really. I definitely think the song, the lyrics in particular, like obviously they inform the emotion that is trying to be synthesized. And so maybe less of a character and more just trying to find make an emotional connection with the song, and then, try to let that be the guide of how it comes out, So maybe we'll meet in the middle on that. I think,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
But Bryson, thank you. I appreciate that, man. That's
No problem.
cool to hear.
It's always nice to hear your bandmate say something nice about you. I'm sure that doesn't happen all the time during rehearsals and van rides.
Funny enough, it happens more in public spaces when we're forced to talk kindly about one another. Closed doors.
Sean won't tell you what he says about you behind the scenes, but
at least it's recorded. So, we can all go back and
it's for posterity.
There was this one time all these compliments were thrown around.
So, in terms of being a vocalist, Sean, is there somebody that you tried to pattern yourself after, you felt an influence from?
I mean, Chris Stapleton has always been a big influence on me. I mean, I don't think any guy from Kentucky doesn't want to sound as good as that and write as good as songs as that, because that's a feat in and of itself. But I listened to a lot of BB King back in the day, younger BB King, and he would really just shout that stuff, and he's known for his guitar playing, but if you go back and listen to his vocals, they're pretty stellar, and he has that blues growl that's not gravelly like Chris Stapleton. It's more of a thing, and I don't know, those are two guys that I've always looked at, and but there's also a lot of pop vocalists that I love. I love dipping into the pop realm and doing runs and trying to find cool melodies to play on, and so
that happens a few times in the new album, for sure. a few. Do you remember the first concert that you ever went to?
Yeah, oddly enough, I do. I was probably 8 years old or 9 years old. I was a young boy, and I went with my buddy and his mom to see Backstreet Boys. And the only I don't really remember. I remember there being a lot of dancing at the show, but I remembered that it was the first time I ever had Red Hots. And I thought my mouth was on fire for an hour, so I couldn't even enjoy the concert. So Backstreet Boys, that's what it was for me.
Boys. Okay. All right.
Followed it wasn't too far behind that I saw Nickelback, so we're just trying to get to the right stuff.
You're working your way there. Do you remember the first album you ever bought?
Yeah, the first full album I had was well, now I have to change. Yeah, so I was gonna say it was Kiss Alive 2, the double CD.
Yeah,
but it was actually the Kiss Greatest Hits.
Okay.
And that was the first CD I owned, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But not too far after that, I saw Kiss Alive 2 with the Gene Simmons and the blood, and I was that's cool.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Have you? I really enjoy the Thunder covers. And have y'all done a cover of a Kiss song? I don't remember that you had.
We have not.
See, that would be, there's some obvious fun to be had there.
Oh, we know.
Everyone on this podcast right now would agree with
that. And Sean, as I was listening through Mojo Thunder songs this last week, thinking about talking with you tonight, the Robert Palmer vibe kind of hit me, and I thought, they could do Addicted to Love and dress up like the girls in the video. You know the video?
I don't know the video.
Oh, well, all right. I'll find a photo of it real quick. But
if we're talking about doing drag, I'm all
Sean,
wouldn't be the first time.
Sean, have you ever seen Man, I Feel Like a Woman video by Shania Twain?
Yeah.
It is. So that is based on the Robert Palmer video. So it's that only opposite.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, so he did that like first with the girls did the thing, and then she swapped it and made the dudes
with the
do
guys.
it.
Yeah.
Super cool
Okay.
like turn. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that then.
Yeah. So you got the voice for it. I don't know if you have the legs for it, but you got the voice for it. All right. Enough of that silliness. Is there anything cool that you're listening to right now? Either one of you, Bryson, anything?
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Patti Smith recently.
Oh, really?
I hadn't really like dove into that stuff, but that the two albums in particular, Horses and Easter, I've been loving those.
Cool. Nice. I like that. How about you, Sean?
Man, recently I've been listening to this band called The Greeting Committee. Don't know much about them, but I really dig their sound. And they're kind of fun, poppy, indie rocky kind of vibe. It's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been on a real Paramore kick lately too, for whatever reason. So Haley Williams is a badass. So
yes, she is. Yes, she is.
So let's talk about the history of Mojo Thunder albums, and the first, I guess, was the EP, Loose Lips, and that was 2019, right? 2019. So Sean, you'd been working with these guys for a year or so, and the EP came out. And you guys still play some songs off of that live. I don't know if you still are now, but as of last time I saw you, you were.
Yeah, two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fine and Queen of the Night. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were so good live. Well, they're great on the EP, but they're so good live. What has kind of the feel or the sense of the songs off of that EP, has that changed over the last, I guess, 5 or 6 years, or is it just kind of, hey, that's what it was, and now we're doing something else?
Like how we feel about it? Has that
how you feel about it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you like to expand on that, sir?
Go ahead, Sean. You can talk about it. I'll tag it on the ends.
No, I think it's I mean, I love some of those songs still. Like Fine.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy that song still. I think it's a catchy tune. And I might be outvoted in the band, but I still love playing. Because live, when we do Queen of the Night, we have the whole Papa Was a Rolling Stone jam in there.
Yeah.
And I love that because Bryson always plays a killer solo. Andrew and I get to just chill. Zach's just chilling, and it's a cool moment.
Yeah.
But I think it's only natural, man, that like as an artist, as you grow and your taste evolves and you evolve in your craft, I think it's only natural to like look at like older stuff and be like, I would change things about that. It's not necessarily like I don't like them anymore, because I certainly do. But there are certain things that I'm like, that would have been cool if we did X, Y, or Z to it. I think I still feel the same. I'd feel the same way about Hymns, and probably a year I'll probably feel the same about Infinite Hope. I think it's just I think we're the cliche. We're our own worst critic, and, that holds true to me. I like to look back and remember fondly what was, but also think about how maybe taste has shifted, or you learn more. You're always learning, So
yeah.
But I still love those songs, most of them.
That's fair. That's fair. Sure. Absolutely. Yep. Bryce, anything to add on to that?
Yeah, I do think that like I think Sean hit the nail on the head there. I like so for me personally, I think I'm always probably the most into whatever we're doing like in the moment, and then I tend to like be so like focused in on that stuff that sometimes like I kind of like sort of dismiss everything that came before it, and like sometimes it takes me getting away from it for a little while to really like truly go back and enjoy it. But I think recording wise and everything, yeah, there's definitely some stuff that I would do differently. But I mean, you know, that's part of the chase of like making good records and stuff too. Is like I don't think you're ever like 100% fully happy with something, you know, as it is. I think that's kind of part of like getting better at it, is never like really being satisfied. So, but you know, you hope to achieve more with each album. You hope to like grow and get better. Like
right,
you know, it's sort of like what Sean was saying, like a year we'll hopefully look back on hope and like whatever we've created or the next thing, well, it will be like so much better to us than the last. So yeah,
and I think that's fair. And I think it's I think a lot of times bands come out and they hit it big with that first album, and they're forever kind of branded with that. But you know, you guys, I mean, you know, the Rolling Stones have been playing Satisfaction for 60 years. You know,
that's right.
At some point that's got to get a little old, but you know, I guess as long as they're getting paid for filling stadiums, they're not going to complain too much. And then Hymns came out in 21, and I got to tell you, I just love that album. I just thought it was fantastic. Still is. I still listen to it on a regular basis.
Awesome.
And I'd mentioned, I think last time you were on here, Bryson, and I mentioned last week, it to me, it sounds like Leonard Skinner and the Black Crowes making a baby while listening to Back in Black. So it just has that great a bit of Southern rock, a bit of soul rock, a bit of hard rock. It just kind of all comes together. Really, really well done. And it's just a lot of fun to listen to. And the way you guys do some of these songs live is just extraordinary. So
thank you.
Well, thank you so much, man.
But in looking at Hymns, what are the songs off of it that you still look forward to playing live?
I mean, I always love playing. I mean, Rising Sun, Bulleit, Blackbird. Yeah, those big. I mean, those three right there are pretty. They're heavy hitters, and they're just fun to be up on stage with the guys. Everybody's doing their thing, and you know those three in particular that we still play. I'm still jazzed when I see them on the set list.
Yeah. Okay. So you're talking about the relationship that you have with specific songs when you're playing them live, Bryson.
Yeah. So one that I like really enjoy, and don't necessarily get tired of, is A New Dawn. That's one I think that we've done like musically like really well, and I think that's sort of remained one of my favorites. And I went through a period where like I wasn't like a huge fan of Jack's acts so much. I think like I don't really like. I don't know. I think maybe like there was like the people that were listening to just like focusing on one song and then like maybe didn't give the others as much credit. So I kind of like had sort of a vendetta against it. But then when we went to Europe, and then, like people were like really excited to hear it, and then I kind of like got to sort of like revisit it like in a way that like where it was like kind of like I don't know, something really nice that we had done that like other people had liked, and then like it was kind of like this like calling card at the end of the night, and it was like really. So that one then became like one of my favorites to, you know, it became like really special again. So, but pretty much all those songs off that album are like incredibly fun to play live.
Yeah, I would think so, because they're a lot of fun to hear, and they're a lot of fun to hear live. You talked about the influence of the audience on your opinion of Jack's acts. How does the audience response to you guys when you're playing live, how does that then affect what you're giving back out?
Well, I mean, obviously, like, the more you give, the more we will. You know, I mean, it's a transaction between us and the audience, right? Like, we're giving you our energy, and in return, we hope that you fulfill in your end of the bargain and give us energy back. That being said, I think, like, you know, we're always going to put on the show. You know, we're going to give it to you. We're going to try, like, we're going to be in it, and you know, but I mean, definitely, like, the crowd is just a huge thing to me, at least. I mean, I can feel myself, like, you know, get in that flow state, or like in the zone, whatever you want to call it. I can live in there a little bit better if the crowd is really behind us, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, if people are really into it, it's like it's almost like a permission scale to really give yourself to it.
Yeah.
Way, like I mean, and it's weird though. It's like sometimes like some of the live jams and stuff we do, like I'll do like sort of like the improv solos, and like there'll be nights that like we're playing for like way smaller audiences, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm getting all of this tonight. You know?
Yeah.
I wish this would have been 2 nights ago when the crowd was big or something, but no, yeah, Sean's right about that. Like there's just a certain, like, the energy of a room, you know, can mean so much, and it's really hard to kind of put your finger on what exactly it is, but it works. You know, maybe it's just something not to question too much and just sort of let happen.
Yeah. And every time I've seen you guys live, it's been a really good crowd. The crowd's been into it, and you guys have certainly responded. But it is something when there's a band or a musician that's playing, and it's, you know, 9 people in the room, and they still put it all out there. That says a lot about them and their commitment to their songs and to putting on a good show, regardless. But fortunately, you guys don't have to worry about that anymore. Oh wow! Do you have a favorite place to play live?
Yes. I mean, I think the Burl in Lexington is pretty, like, I feel like it's like the place in Lexington, but to me, it's also like the place in Kentucky in general. Like, the great staff, they treat artists really great. Like, the bar's super nice. You know, I mean, it's a win all the way around. So I think, to me, playing there is just awesome and feels like home. You know, so. But I think maybe my most fun gig, like at a venue, is probably this place called the Blues Garage in Germany, and it was just a cool spot. The people were awesome. The promoter and the owners were awesome. I mean, it was just like an all around win for everybody involved. Yeah. So it was just a great time.
Yeah. Bryson, how about you? Favorite spot to play?
Yeah, I mean, you know, definitely the hometown spots. You know, like I love the Burl. I always kind of consider that sacred ground. I love Z-Bar. I think like we've had less people at Z-Bar than we have had at the Burl, but I feel like louder, which is pretty cool. You know, like they can like kind of like really like give that big energy. And then, several of the places that we played in Europe. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Z-Bar, Zanzabar in Louisville, Kentucky. You need to be there on Friday, August 23rd, for the second of the album release parties. You can get tickets. Go to Zanzabar's Facebook page. If you're in the Kentucky area, get tickets. If you're not in the Kentucky area, get to the Kentucky area and get tickets, because this is going to be great. It's going to be great. So let's make sure that everybody, you know, here, kind of in the middle of the show, let's make sure everybody knows where they can find you. Guys, you want to talk about where you are in social and on the web?
Yes, yeah. So anything you can find through mojothunder.com. That's sort of like the hub for most things. And then basically on any social media site, if you go at Mojo Thunder Official, you'll find it. So we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on Threads, and we are on YouTube. And one time I figured out that we were still on Twitter because of this show. And then we got rid of it.
Well,
okay. You were like, and Twitter, and I was like, what? We did Twitter anymore.
Yeah, and don't forget YouTube, because there's some great stuff on YouTube. There's some live performances. I've referenced the Thunder covers. Those are a ton of fun. The Thriller one is a favorite. I love the Stones cover of "Can't You Hear Me Knocking." There's just a bunch of really good ones, and I'd put in a request last week for "Ramble On." Yeah, so let's talk about this beauty right here, the Infinite Hope. Why the Infinite Hope? I asked the other guys this question. I want to get it from you guys too.
It ties into this. So for me, it ties into the artwork. So basically, when you're like looking at like these characters and like, you know, sort of like the whole comic book thing, like I sort of like view that as like our modern day mythology.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you like look at those characters and sort of the span of their careers, you know, you have these people that have been fighting like all these struggles and maybe like, and like sometimes the same villains or like, you know, the same sort of like situations and things. And they've done it over this span of time and they've never given up.
Yeah.
So I think like the Infinite Hope is just sort of that like call to like the call to goodwill and like to keep going, keep trying. And you know, it's like in whatever sort of bad or negative thing that's going on, it's like we know that there's always going to be another foe, another struggle, another whatever it is, but you know, you have to overcome that and we have to keep going. So it's like kind of that call to progress.
Yeah. Sean, any other thoughts on that?
No, I mean that's pretty much on the head. So
I think a lot of the songs really fit that theme. And I don't think it didn't seem like you guys went into it thinking, okay, let's make an album about hope. But it seemed to come across in a lot of the themes and the lyrics of the songs.
Yeah.
Let's drink some more whiskey.
Yeah.
The second one is a little more obvious reference. It is Bulleit Bourbon. Again, a song off of Hymns of the Electric Church. This is Bulleit Barrel Strength, and it weighs in at 121.8 proof. So it packs a bit of a punch.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel like this pour was a little heavier than the first.
That's all right. You're a theater guy. You can handle it, right? Cheers.
I need to put my gloves on.
Oh, that's good. Good.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So
Supreme.
Again, Infinite Hope is available on all streaming services. You can order physical copies at mojothunder.com. So be sure to do that. I've got an vinyl LP on the way, which at some point I'll get you guys to sign. So when you went through the process of song selection, how does that work?
Some days more kindly than others. It was a very, very creative period for all of us. I'll say that. There was a lot of people bringing a lot of stuff to the table. It was the first time that we had brought, like, I hate to say full-fledged songs because it takes all four of us to get anything across the finish line. But it's like maybe the first time, like, we brought in, like, say, like lyrics with the structure and everything like that from everybody. So that was a bit of a difference this go around. But as far as, I really actually don't remember how we determined what songs that we were going to use. Do you, Sean? what did we end up doing? Or
I mean, what I really remember was that we landed on like 16 or 17 that we thought were like good enough to go somewhere and be recorded. So then when we started when we started recording with Dwayne, our producer for this album, we just went in there and we tracked all 16 or 17 of them.
That's right.
And so then from there, it just kind of, I think the album kind of presented itself, because a lot of the songs that were cut just didn't match the vibe. You know, I think they were done in a different vein or a different kind of flavor. So I think it just it came to light itself. I do think there were probably a lot of hard conversations about which ones. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you know, the songs on there are the songs that made sense together, you know? And so, and I think when you're looking at a whole album and not just like releasing singles, that's such an integral part, is making sure you can go from front to back and not have an issue, you know, not have an issue or anything like that.
And we early on, I just remember this too, because I think this is a really important part of the philosophy. We tried everything. So like whatever anyone brought in, we pursued it as if like it was going to make it. So that was something we kind of all gave ourselves, like or kind of, I don't know, helped everything along and gave it its best chance to do. So, but it was really cool. That was a really nice part of the process.
Yeah. Now, Sean, you had mentioned to me that Step by Step was actually a song that was written during the hymns time frame. Is that right?
Yeah. We went. Yeah, I mean, we had that song. We've been playing that one for years, you know, and just kind of always
before New On, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard you guys play that. I think I've heard you play that live before.
Go ahead, but I think that one was. I think you had written that, and we were like playing around on it before we had even finished some of the songs on him. Anyway, so go ahead.
Well, I mean, yeah, but so to the last point we were talking about, I mean, like it was around when we were doing hymns and when we were putting it together, and that was one of those songs that didn't fit. Like it just that would have been just a random curveball if you would have thrown that on hymns, you know. So
to me, like if you look at hymns, I think Soul probably could have fit the vibe of Infinite Hope a bit, and Holy Ghost could have fit the vibe of hymns.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that there is, once you get kind of past Holy Ghost on the Infinite Hope, there's a very different feel and sound to this album, which at first I was a little thrown by, to be honest. And but once I listened to Step by Step a few times, I'm like, okay, I kind of get what's going on here. And then when I listened to the whole thing, it was just, I was blown away. But to get to that different sound, it's just not a matter of turning down the distortion in the guitars and making it a little bit more of a pop vocal. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this. How did you guys approach it in terms of creating the sound for the Infant Hope?
Well, to me, I was like, the way I describe this album is it was the no boundaries thing. You know, like it was like kind of, I feel more authentically us on this than I did with like previous efforts. I think we probably, I don't know, it just feels more us. Now, again, it's probably because this is the thing that I'm currently most passionate about. We're working on it right now.
Sure.
But I know that like with like previous things, like we might say like, well, this sounds like this or this sounds like that. And so like you kind of wanted to, you know, you might toss something aside because it didn't exactly like fit like within the genre or something. But like this time we just sort of decided if like we're the ones writing it and like we're the ones playing it, then it sounds like us. So all this, like policing stuff, you know. just be ourselves.
Right.
Sometimes, like, you know, authenticity is sometimes like the hardest thing to get across, because it's like you're, you know, like there's always that fear of whether, like, you're gonna put yourself out there, people are gonna like it or just whatever. So, you know, it's hard to achieve that sometimes.
Yeah.
So it should be the most simple thing ever, but you know.
Right. Right. Could you get comfortable being other things and playing different roles and letting certain pieces of yourself or your personality or your art come out? And in this, it's kind of like, this is who we are completely.
Yeah.
100%.
Which I'll shut up here and say, but just like to that, it's like when you start seeing yourself become a package, like, here's the bell bottoms, here's the this, here's the that, and then like that's when you really have to like actually reconcile, like, is this me, or like have I just sort of like settled into a thing that's easy, that's like marketable and like works, is like, because, you know, it's like everything in Kentucky is like bluegrass and this, and then it's like, oh, and here's this different thing that,
right,
you know, does all that, and then like, and then you like realize like I have to live with that. You know what I mean? Like what you put out, you know, like, so like that's like that sort of fear will sort of bring you to authenticity, maybe perhaps a little faster than you would hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think on that, you know, like coming from, once again, like the theater background is, you know, that was one of the more liberating parts about doing original music. It was also probably like one of the most vulnerable parts was being like, you know, I was very used to going on stage as a character. So like at the end of the day, it wasn't me. Like it's this character that I'm trying to portray and play as. Whereas like when I step up to the microphone with Mojo, I'm just me. You know, so, and, you know, and like any of the messages we're getting across or the lyrics we're saying, like, those are just, they're just real things. They're not characters. And like Bryson said, you know, like settling into a package or seeing yourself as a character, you know, I mean, is a humbling thing when like you look at it from an outside view and you're like, oh, wait, that's not it for me, you know.
Yeah.
I don't find bell bottoms comfortable, so therefore, like I will be in jeans, you know, or like ditch the boots. Let's just wear Vans, you know. So
yeah. Have you ever heard the Who album Quadrophenia?
Yeah.
So a lot of what you're talking about reminds me of the themes of the songs in that album.
That's wild.
Struggling to find who you really are and who you present to people and what is authentically you and what is the image that you portray of yourself, and are people going to like the real you, or to quote the song, can you see the real me?
Yeah. No, I love that album. It's very incredibly special to me. Yeah. And I found it like later in life as well. So I feel like I really got to like understand it and dig into that character.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible that you said that. That's super wild and kind of weird. But yeah.
And I was, and in this past week, I've been thinking about bands that have successfully transitioned their sound without a change in personnel. I mean, lots of bands have changed personnel and the sound changed. Genesis, the Eagles, Van Halen, to an extent, they kind of changed their sound in 1984, and then when David Lee Roth left, it changed quite a bit more. Then you got guys like solo artists like Bowie, who kind of transitioned himself. Seems like every other album. And then Dylan went from folk, acoustic to electric to Christian to back to electric to whatever he wants to do, really.
Yeah.
But I thought of four bands that, without changing personnel, had changed their sound over the years and maintained success. Rush, U2,
Yeah.
the Beatles, and REM. So you guys are in really good company.
I love all those bands. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there are others, but those are the ones that came to mind. And I think the transition in the sound that you guys have made, you have made it very successfully. I think, and again, love this album. Love it. Okay. Always will. But what you've done here is you've really taken it next level. It is more complex musically, lyrically, vocally, in every category. You've just taken it up a notch or two at least. So just congratulations, one, on being determined and brave enough to do that, because I don't think there are a lot of bands that would balk at that. And also congratulations on just making a terrific record.
Thanks, man.
Well, thank you so much, man. It means a lot.
Yeah, really.
Let's talk about some of these songs. One, Bryson, I believe, is one that you wrote. It's the second track on the album. It's Coming Back to You. Mm-hmm. Speaking of complex rhythmically, that song definitely is. What's the inspiration behind that song?
I mean, my lovely girlfriend would be the main part of it.
Yeah.
And I like, those like really country cliches where the people are always like, I'm leaving and there's nothing you could do about it and I gotta go, and whatever those things are. I enjoy being with her and coming home. So that was sort of that. Yeah. Just get away from the machismo of it. I mean, like, I love the road. You know what I mean? Like, touring is so much fun, but like I really enjoy being home and being with her. And and musically, I couldn't really tell you. It was just like something fun I was playing around with, and the guys liked it, so it was like kind of went from there. Yeah,
it kind of feels. I mean, it sounds different, and I think that different people in the band wrote it, but it kind of is the next level of "Fill Me Up" off of Hymns. Kind of the further maturing and development of a relationship. But
wow,
awesome.
That's stupid. Okay.
No, that's such like an interesting through line. Oh
no, it's I think about these things way too much.
Please do.
That's awesome.
And you got us feeling kind of toasty, so
good. That's the plan.
Definitely calm me down.
And then Let It Fall, that's the latest single, right? To me, this one kind of sums up a lot of the title, The Infinite Hope, as well, because it's no matter if you're feeling brave like a gladiator or you're feeling like the devil's beseeching you, your final thought is, I'm fine now. How did this song come together in terms of the writing of it?
So I brought this one to the table for the most part, as far as lyrically. I kind of I had the verses done, and then we were just in rehearsal, and I was like, I don't really know what the chorus is. I don't know what the bridge is, and I think I was like, I want it to be something like, because the verses are pretty wordy, so I was like, I want it to be something that it can be short and like long. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Bryson, but I think Bryson came up with Let It Fall, and then Zach said like Dust from a Star, you know, and then I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
like, let's go. And Bryson came up with the chorus music, and yeah, that one was just, you know, it was just, that was a team effort. Truly, I think there was a vision that was brought to the table, and then everybody did what they needed to do and saw it.
Yeah,
just go from there. You know,
maybe correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like I remember before we had like the words for the chorus and everything worked out. I think actually while we were filming that Thriller video, me and you were working for it. I showed you, I was like, hey, I have something I think that might be cool for that thing you've got. I'm not even sure if it was like a fully fledged thing that like you just said. It was like, I think it was just like phonetically. Is phonetically where you like you're sounding it out, but you don't have
sounding it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
phonetically, yes.
Yeah. I get lost on big words sometimes. You know, pronunciation's not my strong suit. But yeah, I feel like maybe it happened a little bit there too. Like we really like kind of got the infancy of it, and then you're right. We really put the pedal to the floor with it. We got with Zach and Andrew and finished it out.
Yeah, a lot of the songs on this album have a great drama in the way the song builds and ebbs and flows and has that musical tension and release, and it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4 go and then you play it and then 3 minutes later you're done. Each song seems to have a little journey of its own. Is that by intention?
I don't think so. I think it's probably lack of intention, just like enjoyment of making it do something like that.
Yeah.
For me anyway. I don't know. I don't couldn't speak for everybody else, obviously. But.
No, I mean, yeah, that's not something that's in like the forefront of like the brain when we're all writing together. I definitely like to take things like, I like it to swim.
Yeah.
Like, but even then, I mean, you have songs like Bryson is kind of notorious in the group for writing songs that have choruses that, like, maybe the verses, not to say it's not an exciting part, but like the verse is more up and then the chorus comes down, so it's kind of opposite of your intuition of what it would be.
Like the Pixies thing, where they out and quiet.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I thought he was going to say too many words.
That too. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
Let's talk about Memphis. Sean, that's a set of pipes you got on that song.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's incredible. Vocal of the year kind of territory as far as I'm concerned. It's gorgeous. And you guys wrote this one together, is that right?
Yeah. Sean sent that to me, and I don't know if he really remembered working with it too much or not, but I remember after hearing those first 2 lines, I basically, for lack of a better term, just begged him to let me finish it. I really loved it. I thought it was so good, and I kind of I don't know, it just kind of went from there. And then I guess I don't remember when I showed it. I mean, obviously I showed it to him at a certain point. It was like, here's kind of what I have with it, and we sort of went with it from there. But yeah, I just remember in the voicemail, I was like, that's very, very good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I sent that song to Bryson. Not that song. I sent the first 2, If I Fall lines with the melody. And I'd been toying around with it, trying to make it go into a jammer, make it jaga, blah, and I was like, yeah, I think I got some cool direction. And that's when he was like, no, let me he's like, I want to try something. And honestly, when he showed it to me, I forgot that it, like, I didn't even remember. Like, it was like, all right, then, like, if you got it, out of sight, out of mind. And when he showed it, I was like, oh, like, dang, that's pretty stellar, you know, like, so, I mean, and that's one of my favorites to sing live. I mean, you know, I get to show off a little bit, and, you know,
that's okay. That's all right. That's all right. Those of us in the audience are the beneficiaries of you showing off. But yeah, it's a fantastic tune and incredibly well done. The next one I want to talk about, to me, is one of the real hidden gems, if there is such a thing on this album. And that's Caroline. And
you say that.
This has just an incredible build to it, and is this about? I mean, I'm going out on a limb here, guessing what this is about, so I may look like a dummy. Is this about Radio Caroline?
Partially, yes.
Okay, all right. So I'm just half of a dummy. So talk to me about this song, because I love the song. And I'm digging into the lyrics, and the Radio Caroline thing I kind of pulled out of it. But talk me about how you wrote this song and what it's about.
Well, so it's basically a protest song, is what it is. You know, you know, obviously over the last few years, you know, things have been a little bit tense as far as you know, politically, socially.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I feel pretty confident in saying I speak for everyone in the band, saying that, you know, like, we're on the side that wants to affirm people's humanity and, you know, have everyone be treated equally and with respect. And it was just really, really hard to watch, you know, friends and family, you know, just all of these people that basically it's you know, the rights are being stripped away. It was just wow, that's sort of where that, you know, that chorus line comes from, is it's you know, just what if all this goes away, it's what, you know, then what are we? And so I kind of hid the specifics and things that I thought would be a little bit more difficult to understand in the verses. But then I read about the Radio Caroline, and I thought that was just such a cool thing that dude was offshore, and he was illegal. You know, and so playing this revolutionary music, and I thought, well, that sort of goes with theme of protest, and, you know, sort of the rebellion and all that. And so
yeah. No, I think everybody these days is a little more than a little concerned about what the future holds. Whether you're whichever side of the aisle you sit on, you're looking at things, and it's why do we have to be at such extremes?
Right.
With everything, you know, there are real live people that have different points of view and different perspectives on things. Why don't we figure out what their deal is, and they can figure out what mine is, and we can figure out how to make it work together, as opposed to, you know, throwing insults and throwing worse things at each other.
Like that old Funkadelic song, "You got a thing, I got a thing, we all got a thing."
Yeah, I love it. Getting on a binge. I talked with Zach quite a bit about that last week, but I want to focus on the guitar solos at the end, because that kind of blew me away. Now, is that when we're hearing the guitars on the album like that? Is that you, Bryson, or is that Bryson and Sean swapping things out, or how does that work?
Well, a lot of the lead.
It's the man. It's the man.
Sean does a lot of lead work though, and very, 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 very good lead work. I'll talk about Minge, but in Grace, that's all Sean on the leads. You know, he's doing all that, and then Sun Still Rises, I play the rhythms on it. I can't really think of all the others, but there's a lot of times where I've had people ask me about leads. I'm like, I don't even know how to play them. You know, I just play the rhythms on that. So yeah, Zach brought us Binge like completely finished. You know, like we just pretty much had to learn the parts, and then so yeah, and I just kind of like wanted to do like a Billy Gibbons like tone scoop like kind of thing with it, and but yeah.
Yeah, the guitar solo is kind of in two parts there on the guitar outro. It starts out with a little ZZ Top feel to it, you know, Sharp Dressed Man kind of sound, and then it switches over, and it to me, I got the Stones Can't You Hear Me Knocking kind of sound off of it, and it's just fantastic, and it really makes that song elevated in my mind, and one of the standouts. It's tough to say there are standouts on this album because I like everything so much, but that is a personal favorite.
No, I agree. I mean, just as a
very fun,
you know, I'm a fan of that solo. You know, I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Like, other than just being in the room, being like, I like that. You know, do it again. Double up, you know.
I was agreeing with both of you just then. I meant about the song, like being a fan of the song. I was like, oh yes, I don't do it or whatever.
Yeah. Now, how much of the recording of the songs was live to tape? Not really tape anymore, but live to tape, and how much is kind of overdubbed or broken down into parts?
So in general, we try and keep everything we can from like a live take. Like, so Dwayne doesn't have a control room. That our wonderful producer Dwayne Lundy.
Yes, excellent job, Dwayne. Congratulations.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's a very, very good dude. But so like, you know, kind of like all in there together. Like, you know, there's not like that like wall of separation thing where they're like, you know, could you just do another take? You know, we'd really like to get you on this. All right, thanks. You know, like we didn't have to deal with any of that. So most of it was live, but like, you know, I don't know, Sean, how much did we like recut wise? Like, I feel like we kept a lot more than I thought we were gonna keep.
I mean, all the drums you're hearing pretty much are live 100%, like from the live take, and only like 3 or 4 of them were done to a click.
Definitely all the bass, right? Because like I don't remember. I mean, Andrew was just kind of like, you know, he did his stuff, and that was that.
Andrew maybe made like note overdubs of like, oh, I missed that one. Can we just take it and like get like a you know?
Yeah, right.
I mean, obviously, when you're dealing with guitars, I mean, you're gonna have some overdubs, and you want certain things doubled and certain things like that. And there's a fair amount of that, you know.
That was for sure. All the leads we got over top because those are kind of hard to get on the first like go around. So it's like easier if like we both play rhythm on it, you know, and then later.
Yeah. And I'll come back to that in a minute, but I want to talk about Grace for a second before we get to Greeting from Western Art. So Grace, is this, again, I'm going out on a limb here. Is this the Robert Montgomery poem? Is that a influence here at all, or do you even know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm not familiar with it at all.
He has a poem called Grace of the Sun. So it kind of fit, but yeah. So all right. So tell me what this is about then, since I don't know.
So that's it'd be another one we could attribute to my girlfriend. But we were at the beach in North Carolina, and I was it's like she like likes to like hunt for like shark's teeth and like things like that, and so I was just sort of admiration watching her do her thing, and then it just kind of like those like things hit me real quick, and then I think obviously like, you know, I had like edited and like finished it like, later, but like the first verse I got like while we were just like sitting at the beach, and I just kind of like jotted it down and had it. But
yeah, well, it's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
Beautiful song.
Thank you.
So Greetings from Western Art. Okay, this might be my favorite. I think I've said that about 6 or 7 times tonight. What was the inspiration behind this one, Bryson? I won't bother guessing since I struck out on the last one.
So. Kind of everything. Like it was just sort of like that stream of consciousness thing. Like it's semi-autobiographical, which sometimes, like, other than the love songs, I don't normally care to do. Like I normally like to explore emotions through characters. But yeah, it's kind of like, I guess, like the scenery of it is basically like it's like a kind of like a guy like us, like an outsider type personality who sort of like is like walking through a bar and sort of like, just as he's sort of like running into people, is sort of having like judgments and anxieties and things about them, and then sort of the the end of it being like the show itself, and sort of just like it's kind of that like general search for truth. It's just like, are you like, are you being too cynical, or are you being too judgmental? Like, is there like, do we like, should you really be thinking those things? Because it's like, some of that I don't necessarily agree with. It was just kind of like it fits in that way.
Yeah. And the extended jam at the end. Yeah, I've listened to that a lot. And I mentioned to the guys last week, I said, this feels kind of like a little nod to Freebird. Not Absolutely. Again, not to try to pigeonhole anything, but it kind of has that feel.
Yeah. Have you ever heard what is it, Black Rose by Thin Lizzy?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that, like, too.
Okay.
Like,
sure.
And a lot of My Morning Jacket. Like, I mean, we love, like, I think, like, me and John both love, like, the dual guitar stuff. And I think, like, I probably pester Sean to play leads more than he might want to.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a reason I drop out in the middle of that dual solo.
No, there's definitely some dual stuff going on, and I didn't know if that was just overdub stuff or you guys playing together. But it's
together.
Yeah, man, it's so good.
Yeah.
It is so good. I can't wait to hear that one live on Friday.
And to be like way less serious about it, it's like I didn't play that many solos on the album, so I thought we'll just get it all done in one.
It is terrific. It is a killer song. It's a killer album. I'm really happy for you guys, proud of you, and just wish you all the success in the world with it. Because it's well deserved. You guys are really, really good at what you do. And anybody out there that has not heard this yet, you can find it on all the streaming platforms, and there are some wonderful videos that go with it that you can find on YouTube. So be sure to check those out as well. What's next? I know we've got a show on Friday. You guys are going to Europe when?
We leave September 18th, and tour will start the 20th.
Okay, so about a month. Okay.
Yeah, about a month away.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. That'll be great. Well, you'll be ready. You'll be ready because you've got a couple of great shows under your belt already. And so then what? Then what's next? Are you going to be touring more in the States, or what's the plan?
I mean, stay busy is the plan.
Yeah.
Like yeah. I mean, I feel like independent touring is like, there's not really, it's just shows. You're just constantly playing shows.
Yeah.
So that, and then, like the writing never really stops. So like, I mean, like there's been like Sean's been showing us some like really, really cool stuff. Zach's running some like really, really nice songs. So like just super excited to, get working on those things while we're still celebrating this.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just pretty whatever we have the budget for.
I think that's the truth.
That's what it is. I'm like, us, like me, everyone else, we're never short for ideas. We're just short on money. So
sure. Well, yeah, I understand that. I have great ideas. I just need time and money, and then
yeah,
it'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Yeah, but I think, you know, I mean, this, yeah, I think we're already sitting on like a bunch of cool new stuff, and you know, I think that's well within the near future to, you know, be working, just going back to work in the studio and hanging out with Dwayne probably some more.
Yeah, do another one with Dwayne. And I tell you one thing, kind of not really related to us, but sort of related to us is the guy who done the like amazing artwork, Chance. He has been like, he's like off the grid. He doesn't do social media. He like doesn't have any of that stuff. And I think he's finally been talking and getting online. So I think that's going to be like really, really exciting to like see him like do other art projects and everything. And I said, you may have talked about this with Zach and Andrew. I don't quite remember, but I always like, we kind of like to let people know that the artwork was done with like pens and markers and like drawn on real paper. So it's not some like AI like BS thing. Yeah. It's actual real art, and you know, real art requires real people and always will. So that's you know, I just want to take just a little bit of a chance to highlight him and his amazing work. Yeah,
it's gorgeous. It really is very cool, and it's a piece of art. It really is.
Wait till you see it on the vinyl, Kevin. I'm telling you. When I saw it on the cover, I was just like, "Damn, that looks great, man. That looks." So
I'm ready.
It's all thanks to Chance, man.
Yeah,
he's a very, very awesome guy.
Yeah, and again, show on Friday, August 23rd at Zanzabar. Be there or be square. Social media. You guys can tell everybody where they can find you again.
At Mojo Thunder Official and mojothunder.com.
Check it out.
Check it out. And how about you guys individually? Where are you on social? Where can people follow you?
I'm mostly at the house. I'm on. I think I'm just Bryson Willoughby on all the socials. And if I don't like accept your friend's request or something on Facebook, if you do that, I don't get in there. I don't get on there a lot. I'm mostly on the Mojo stuff, so that's not personal. I just don't get on there a lot. Yeah. On Instagram, I saw it and didn't want to mess with you.
Oh, wow. And Sean, how about you? You're on Instagram as well, aren't you?
Yeah. You can find me at Sean Sullivan _music. So I do a lot of reposting of Mojo stuff and might occasionally throw out a video. So
yeah.
You know, so go follow the band. That's my pitch. It's way more interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, if anybody's in the Louisville area, you play a couple of places regularly on a
Yeah. I play over at Foxden and Gerstl's.
Yeah, I heard you do a solo acoustic version of "Let It Fall," and that was fantastic. It just was terrific, man. Just loved it.
I think I saw that video they posted. It's Lovely and Wonderful Live singing harmonies on it.
Yep.
Yeah, that was great.
She makes that for me on the acoustic versions. So
yeah. Very cool. For our show, you can find us on YouTube. You can watch it. You can see these lovely fellows right here. If you're just driving around town, you just want to listen, we're on your favorite podcast platform. We're also on Facebook. We have a Facebook page where we post all of our shows, including this one. We have a Facebook group where we can post things that we may be listening to and what we might be drinking while we're listening to it. There's going to be certainly some Mojo Thunder and some whiskey on my deck in the future. And in the past, for that matter. Well, until next time, happy birthday to Robert Plant. Congratulations to Mojo Thunder. And on behalf of Sean and Bryson, until next time, cheers, love, and Freebird.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, I called Robert Plant Rob earlier, like I knew him, and I thought that was hilarious. So I didn't like, Rob, like you know him. But anyway.